Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Well, as you can see, about a month ago, I finished this little project here, and we made some picture frames, and it came out pretty good, but it didn't come out really good. And I was a bit disappointed, probably because the whole structure is not strong enough, and I'll show you pieces of wood that came out of it. Here's a piece here with the frame varnished, and you know, it looks pretty damn good. Again, you come into this varnish here and you get these riffles in there. Now, you know, okay, so for this frame it's fine, but I didn't like that, and so I wanted something a little bit more smooth. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and a wood guy, and he said, well, you're gonna need some more strength. And probably all you wood guys already knew that. You know, you're gonna need some beefier walls and a beefier fence. Okay, well, you know, it came out pretty good. And if we kind of come over on the end here, you can see that the contour, that contour was pretty wide, and yet it really, you know, it did what it was supposed to do. So anyhow, you know, I got the chop saw that works great, and it cuts a pretty tight angle, and we ended up with some other frame material. And I got an old Craftsman table saw, but you know, I trimmed it down so that the actual table was fairly small, that it would fit in this, you know, fairly small space. If you kind of look at it, it's maybe 10 feet wide at the very most. So come back around. So anyhow, I'm over at the Restore up in Grass Valley, and I walk in, and sitting right there on the floor is this almost brand new Grizzly. Well, you know, it is a Grizzly, and of course, you know, it is definitely an off-brand, but it just so happened that my cabinet maker friend was standing right there at the time, and I says, well, what do you think about this? He says, oh, it's going to be a great machine, and it's going to get rid of your riffle problem. You should just get it. So for a couple $100, I was able to score this thing, and got it home, and I realized that mostly what happens in my shop these days, because I have more tools than I have room for, is if I get a new tool, I have to get rid of an old one. And so what used to stand in this spot was an old Craftsman radial arm saw. And I swear I used that thing maybe a half a dozen times in the 10 years that I've owned it. And I'm like, okay. And the reason why I haven't gotten rid of it mainly is because it's so bulky and was going to be such a pain in the ass to get it out of here that I just didn't get around to it. Well, this new tool was coming in, so hey, get the radial arm saw out of there, and I gave it to my neighbor. He was totally happy to help me come get this thing off the truck. So here we are with a router table, a good solid one that's gonna work. And then, but you know, my cabinet maker guy says, but you know, it's missing a part, and an attachment, and coming out of this little hole here is an arm that makes a 90-degree angle, and basically the arm has a couple of spring steel you know, the straps that push down on the board and keep it on the table, and also the spring steel straps that push in on the board and keep it pushed up against the fence. and that is missing. And the one that you know, comes with this tool, those look pretty chintzy. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and make a larger attachment for that, and that is what this next project is all about. All right, well, it turns out that I found a piece of 4140 rod here, and now the problem is it's a little bit bigger than I want it to be, or than the hole is. But the other reality is, if you look at it carefully, this is the size of piece of wood I want to use. This thing sits right on top of it. So I think what I'm going to do is come in from the back side like that. Of course, I'm hitting the window. And make this, well, I might actually drill that out now that I think of it, and just keep it good and strong. Now, if we look at this, what I want to do is take this section here, heat it, and bend it into a U so that it comes in, if you can see that, so that it comes into that hole just like that, and then bends around and goes into the hole from the back side. And that way I can get more height out of this. This is all adjustable from here up and down. So I think what we're going to do is take this fence off and go ahead and bore that hole out a little bit bigger. And we can do that by loosening our lockdown arm here. And boy, I really wouldn't mind taking this arm, and it's a piece of crappy ass plastic, and making something decent. But at this point, plastic is what it is, right? Okay, and there's our adjuster, and look at that. You know, this is Grizzly for you, right? It's so loose that, but you know, it works, and I guess that's all that counts at this point. And all the critical key factors are machined surfaces. So, well, all right, we'll put up with it. There we go. Cast iron. All right, so now I've noticed that this hole is drilled way off center, and this hole is on center. So I think what we can do is put it in the mill and make our oversized hole just slightly this way and try to get it to center up better. Okay, well, we know we're square this way because this is a machined surface, but we're not sure about this direction. God, it looks pretty good. Eyeballed the hell out of that one. Oops, a little bit more. All right, snug that down. Let's get rid of our drill. Get rid of the chuck. Now, we need to find a mill bit that's going to be this size. Shouldn't be too hard. I'm guessing this is 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch on the money. And we're looking for a 1/2 inch mill bit. Tighten it up. Let's bring you over to the other side. All right, so now we need to get this hole underneath our bit. I'm thinking right about there. And I want to take that set screw out too. There we go. Still focused? Nope. Things got moved. Okay. So I think we're pretty well set to go. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe over just a little bit. That looks good. Well, let's see what that looks like. All right, it's pretty snug. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but once we put the set screw in, I think we're going to be fine. Can you see that? Yep. All right, that's good. Take this out. Okay, so now comes the time to bend this thing around where it should belong. Alright, well that looks pretty good. Let's see if we can get it out. It's kind of swelled up a little bit, so it's not going to come out easily. Oh, there it comes. Nice. Good deal. So now let's put this back in. Well, actually we could do the other side now that I think of it, but we got a bunch of paper on that side, so first thing we got to do is burn that paper off. I'm going to take this over to the wire wheel and just wire wheel the shit out of that. Okay, let's take this outside leg down. And that'll be pretty straightforward. Okay, well, I just realized the original setup is just a straight bar going across, which means that this little yoke could slide onto the bar without any problems. But this has got a kink in it, so the bar, this little slider guy can't slide on the bar. So we're going to have to we got to make 4 of these anyhow. So let's just go ahead and make them. I think we can get 2 pieces out of this, and we'll cut it twice because we need 4. Let's give that a shot, see how it goes. All right, before I do the whole thing and forget to film it, the bandsaw doesn't really cut totally square, and in this case it was off, probably a 1/16. So, I didn't have the fence set up just right, so I'm just going back in and trimming back a little bit in order to square everybody up. All right, we got a couple of good clean surfaces. And the other one I just did already, and we got to go in and deburr that. and we will be back. Okay, let's cut this into little blocks. And since we don't have a lot of room here, I'm going to leave this end uncut and go ahead and come back in. Now, first thing I want to do is just trim off the end here. All right, my motor overheated and it's I forgot to turn the fan on, so it's got to cycle out and cool off a bit. We'll be back. All right, so now we've got our little pieces cut, and time to square up the cuts because they're just slightly off. Now what we want to do is we're going to cut a notch out of the center of this. First, I think I'm going to take these over and deburr them just a little bit. Okay, so we're not going to put that radius on the outside, but we definitely want to drill the hole and put the notch through there, and also the set screw hole. So I'm seeing drilling the hole down one end here, and then the notch going in here. And I think the drilling the hole part is probably first. All right, let's find center here, even though it's not critical, but it's worth finding. There we go. Come over to this side. And there it is right there. 120, and we go half of that. Half of Y. 60. There's 0. We're going to do the same thing out here. And we want to come in 600 minus 100, so 500 are coming in. And that looks pretty good. I might come in just a little further. Let's come in another 100. Okay, another 50. Let's see what it looks like centered. All right, we'll go back. That's better. And of course I didn't square up my end here, so that's going to throw me off a bit. There we go. Looks pretty good. We'll zero everything out. Yeah, I like it. Start out with a small bit. And then I think we want to go just one step beyond a half. 33/64. Just give us just a little bit of leeway here, just in case things get a little out of whack at a later date. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Well, first thing we have to do is cool it off. And all right, let's give it a quick look and see what we got. We'll put our shaft back in. Slide our keeper in here. And yeah, this is where the set screw will go, and this is where the notch will go. Something like about right there. You see that? That should do pretty good. And it's nice and loose, so easy to deal with. Let's go back to the mill and whip out the rest of these.